The control deck was unnervingly quiet for a standard rotation. At the sleek console, my partner sat with her hair pulled into a tight coil, her eyes cutting like a laser, her smirk slicing through the hum of machinery. Beside her, the colony director looked as if he'd ingested spoiled rations, his silence deafening in my ears. She spoke for him. "Commander Jace, after 15 years, we're reassigning your duties," she said, her tone as casual as if she were issuing a docking permit. "Please transfer your codes by cycle's end." I nodded calmly, unshaken, and said I understood fully. She had no clue what the next orbit would bring. 15 years ago, I arrived at this outpost with nothing but a patched suit and a relentless drive that fueled me through sleepless shifts. I reinforced the colony's shields, optimized its resources, tripled its energy reserves, and saved it from collapse twice. I trained the director's heir in tactical ops, guided the quartermaster through a supply crisis, and for a decade and a half, I turned this drifting rock into an unbreachable haven. And I loved her, Lieutenant Mara. When we met, she was fresh from the academy, her mind sharp as a plasma blade, her movements precise, her quips fast and clever. I was hooked on her spark, her unyielding ambition. I didn't see how her gaze always tracked whoever held the most control. 6 years into our union, we claimed a premium hab unit near the Hydro Bay. I thought it was our joint vision. To her, it was a strategic move. The first hint was faint, a moment exchange I caught outside the comms hub. Her voice low and mocking, she flung my name like it was scrap. "Jace won't even blink," she said, her laugh sharp but biting. I didn't challenge her. Instead, I observed. At home, she grew remote, her datapads always locked, her attention elsewhere. At command, she drifted toward the director. Their closed-door briefings multiplied, files she once shared with me now encrypted. Gradually, I pieced it together. The real strike hit when I scanned the stamp on a classified order. It wasn't the ops chief or the director. It was Mara. She'd engineered the plan to dismantle my rank, my legacy, my life's work, all while sporting the insignia I'd given her. For the next 6 cycles, I worked in silence. No arguments, no flays, just meticulous plotting and quiet resolve. First, I secured our holdings, the shared credits, tech, everything. She never grasped the details. I quietly rerouted her portion to loyal crewmates, shifted assets to off-grid caches, and sold a hab unit to a co-op I'd set up under a false ID 2 years back. She signed off, thinking it was routine maintenance. Then, I gathered evidence, not just of her scheme, but of her liaison with the director. It wasn't only personal. She was leaking colony codes and midnight transmissions for leverage. I collected logs, comms, docking records. One night, I tracked them, logging their rendezvous points, timestamps, undeniable proof. I compiled it all into a file dubbed Orbit Change. I liked the ring of it. The final cycle arrived, and I handed over my codes with cool precision, saluting, offering thanks. Mara didn't spare me a glance. She'd already taken my post at the console, her laughter ringing triumphantly through the deck. She thought she'd locked in her win. The next morning, at first light, the assembly convened. I wasn't summoned, but the tech owed me a solid, and my clearance still worked. I stepped in as a lieutenant droned mid-report. Mara tensed. The director's face paled. I laid a dense data chip before each officer. "You'll want to review this before moving forward," I said, my voice level. No theatrics required. The chips outlined resource misallocations, breaches of colony law, and proof of an illicit link between 2 top officials, one of whom had just ousted a loyal commander, me, without grounds. By the time they hit the witness logs, Mara's fingers twitched. The quartermaster's glare pinned her like a beacon. I faced the director. The analysts will find the sequence especially telling, particularly where she scripted her partner's demotion under false flags while entwined with her superior. The deck froze. Someone cleared their throat. The director muttered, "We need a recess." By midday, both had relinquished their posts, citing new ventures. The logs scrubbed their names by nightfall. But I wasn't finished. 2 cycles later, I launched a new coalition, my own unit, offering sharper strategies at better rates, built on the systems I'd perfected. Many officers, repulsed by the scandal and the colony's new brass, signed on. The outpost I'd given my life to started to falter, its reach shrinking by the 3rd orbit. The assembly pleaded for my retain. I politely declined. As for Mara, the split was swift and clean. She left with nothing. Her aide tried to contest the Union terms, but I pointed out she'd endorsed them, assuming I'd be wrecked. I wasn't. Every asset was locked, every loophole sealed. She exited the bay, clutching a worn pack, her rancor raised. Betrayal, I learned, isn't always loud or flashy. The harshest kind is subtle, intentional, locked with a code and a grin. Revenge, though, can be just as quiet, served with a nod and a steady stride onward. I'll never forget her expression in that assembly. The instant she saw I wasn't shattered, I was light years ahead. That was the day she realized, never cross the one who forged the system you're exploiting, because they can rewrite the code. And by the time you catch on, it's game over.